Hello. Hello. All right. Hello, everyone. I think we can just wait for 5 more minutes for everybody to join. So we can be on our video offs and we can join in 2-3 minutes or maybe 5 minutes more. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is it audible?
Yeah, it is audible, Rasmeet.
All right.
Yes, Dr. Shweta, you have to put yourself on mute. You are on mute. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute. Yes, fine. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Shweta. Hi, Rasmeet.
Hi, Mani. Hi, Rashmi.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, doctor.
So I think we can start, or should we wait for 5 more minutes, Dr. Shweta, as you say, Rasmeet, as you say?
Let us wait. No problem.
Let us wait for 2-3 minutes more.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Let others join. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it visible? Is the screen visible?
Yeah. It is
Okay.
visible to me.
Okay. I think we can start now, right? Yes?
Okay. Yes. Why not?
Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this webinar on a very important topic. This webinar is also co-sponsored by Women Mentor Forum, which is a big forum in Jaipur for all the professional as well as homemakers. And it is a platform for networking and helping women, all the women with each other, because women can be big strength to one another if they decide to. So I first thank Women Mentor Forum also to be a part of it. And now let us have a brief introduction of our very esteemed panelists today. So as we all know, the first panelist and the first speaker for today's webinar is Dr. Shweta Rai. Dr. Shweta Rai is a senior consultant at Vedanta Hospital. And let me give you a brief introduction of hers. So she's working as senior consultant Vedanta Hospital and DM Hospital Faridabad. Dr. Shweta has a vast experience of more than 15 years in her field. She did her MBBS from the most prestigious SMS Medical College, Jaipur, and her PG in Obstetric and Gynae from SP Medical College, Bikaner. She is also trained as SR in Lal Bahadur Shastri Hospital, Delhi. She has worked in prestigious hospitals like Sant Parmanand and Kailash Hospital, Delhi. She shifted to Faridabad 10 years back, and since then she is working as a senior consultant in the Vedanta Hospital. She has always been a responsible citizen and responsible towards her duties towards the society, and has regularly devoted time to Sri Ram Charitable Hospital, Faridabad. She is a member of Executive Committee of FOGS, Faridabad. Dr. Shweta is an active member of IMA Faridabad. She has been recognized and awarded by various NGOs like Sangam, CSR Arise, and Mission Jagriti. So I welcome you warmly, Dr. Shweta, for this webinar. And I'm very happy that you agreed to be a part of it.
Namaskar, and thank you for the kind words. And I would like to congratulate Dr. Mani Bhavan, who has used this Corona lockdown period for creating such a wonderful platform for creating awareness about health and nutrition. It is an opportunity well used.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta.
And I'm looking forward to talk to the gold medalist dietitian Rashmi Kaur also. I'm looking for some good tips for myself and all other women who would be attending.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, doctor. So now let me introduce the second panelist, that is Rashmi Kaur. Rasmeet has also, I'm very proud to tell you that Rasmeet had been my student, and she has been a clinical dietitian and academician. She's a PG Gold medalist in foods and nutrition with more than 10 years of experience. She graduated in home science from International College for Girls ICG Jaipur, where she was honored college topper in all the 3 years. She completed her post-graduation in foods and nutrition from University of Rajasthan, where she was honored with 2 gold medals for securing highest position in all 3 batches of home science, and other for securing first position in her own stream. She started her career in dietetics with Fortis Escorts Hospital, Jaipur, as clinical nutritionist and dietitian after completing her internship there. She is a life member of Indian Dietetic Association, Jaipur chapter. She has also worked in esteemed Lovely Professional University, Jalandhar, Punjab as an assistant professor in nutrition and dietetics. She also possesses experience of working in the slimming and fitness company VLCC Healthcare, Jaipur as the slimming manager. She has ample experience of guiding clients and patients in clinical nutrition. Presently, Rasmeet owns her own clinic by the name Diet Dose, where she gives both offline and online consultations to the clients. She believes that awareness is the key to health and eating right. She is also an active YouTuber and health blogger and has created her YouTube channel recently by the name Diet Dose by Rasmeet Kaur, which I have seen and it is quite impressive. So I welcome you all, Rasmeet, for this webinar. I'm very happy that you are also joining us today with us. Rasmeet has lost her video, I think. Rasmeet, can you hear us?
Dr. Mani, I think Rasmeet ma'am has just logged out. She'll be back in 5 minutes, I believe. Maybe some internet issue.
Okay, not a problem.
Yeah.
So then we can, I think,
ma'am.
Dr. Shweta, we can start away with the webinar if Rasmeet has joined back.
Yeah.
So Rasmeet, I welcome you to the webinar.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. So I think we should right away now get on to our topics of discussion for the day. So Dr. Shweta, can we have your talk for the day? The session is yours now.
Yeah.
Could you please?
So today I would like to enlist the top 10 health issues faced by women in India.
Okay.
So I would like to enlist top 10 problems, health issues faced by women in India. See, it is anemia, pregnancy, which is not a disease or a disorder, but a major health issue, PCOD across all age groups, infertility, white discharge and UTI, periods-related disorders, breast-related problems, hypertension, diabetes and hypothyroidism, calcium and vitamin D deficiency leading to osteoporosis and menopause. I've tried to summarize them into 10 major health issues which we come across in our OPDs and which in general women face. Now, the first health issue, the first and foremost health issue faced by women is anemia. WHO says 1/3 of women across the world are anemic. Hemoglobin less than 12 in non-pregnant women and less than 11 in pregnant women is anemia. So, you know, I want to tell the women who have hemoglobin 10 and say, India mein itna hi hota hai, this is not the right way to go. You know, you are anemic and you're not realizing, you may be feeling fatigue, you may be feeling tired, but you're ignoring your anemia. So it can be categorized into 3 categories: mild anemia, 10 to 10.9 in pregnant women and 10 to 11.9 in non-pregnant women; moderate anemia, 7 to 9.9 HB; severe anemia, less than 7 grams. So I would like to enlist only the common causes. Rare causes are there. They have to be investigated, diagnosed, but common causes are iron deficiency anemia, folic acid deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency, acute or chronic blood loss due to any reason, like heavy periods, like bleeding in pregnancy, and pregnancy-related anemia. Now, the rare causes, hemoglobinopathies, aplastic anemia, drug-induced, they are very rare. They are the doctor's diagnosis. You know, in general, we don't need to know so much about it.
Dr. Shweta, if you can please put your full screen. It can be done on full screen also, no?
I'll just
on the right hand side, there is a full screen option left. There is a watch glass type of a shape.
You want the slide to be full screen?
Yeah, yeah. There is a watch glass type of a shape in the bottom of your slide.
Okay, I'll just check it out.
Yeah.
Full screen. Is it full screen now?
Yeah, yeah, now it's full screen. Yeah,
okay,
perfect. Yes, quite visible
so
now.
the symptoms of anemia are generalized weakness, fatigue, lethargy, palpitation, breathlessness, dizziness, syncope, pica, tendency to eat, feel like eating chalk and tuna, things like that. And it depends on the category of anemia you are in, mild, moderate, and severe. In the usual investigations we go for are blood counts, serum iron studies, serum vitamin B12 level, reticulocyte counts, peripheral smear, and HB electrophoresis. The treatment, I would like to say that in most of the diseases, the first line of treatment is dietary changes and lifestyle modifications. So the preventive is always preventive, and for mild anemia, for any mild diabetes, the first treatment is dietary and lifestyle modification, then iron supplements, deworming, iron injections, blood transfusions as required and customized by the patient. Now, the second important health issue is pregnancy. Every woman gets pregnant once, twice, or multiple times in her life. Pregnancy is a hyperdynamic state, hyperdynamic state or very demanding phase in life, which I think I put on the wrong slide. I'll just a minute. So it enhances the dietary requirements of the nutrients, it exacerbates borderline deficiencies, and it unmasks covert diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and hypothyroidism. And as we see, we divide pregnancy into 3 trimesters. First trimester is up to 12 weeks, second trimester from 13 to 27 weeks, third trimester from 28 weeks up to delivery. Each trimester has its own set of problems. The usual investigations for done in pregnancy are CBC, blood group, urine routine, serum TSH. It is very important because even borderline hypothyroidism can lead to a low mental in the fetus, low mental IQ in the fetus. So it is very important to diagnose hypothyroidism, sugar, all the viral markers, HIV, HBsAg, anti-HCV. HB electrophoresis is very important to diagnose thalassemia minor. Thalassemia minor cases are usually anemic. GCT at 24 weeks. Ultrasound in early pregnancy, level 1 scan in 11 to 14 weeks, level 2 scan from 20 to 24 weeks, third trimester scan. Vaccinations are not to be forgotten during pregnancy, TD and Tdap vaccine and flu vaccines. Treatment, first and foremost, dietary modifications, exercise, regular antenatal checkups, iron, calcium, and vitamin supplements, screening and early diagnosis of complications, BP monitoring. Now, the third problem I would like to focus on is PCOD. PCOD is characterized by delayed periods, which is due to hormonal imbalance, weight gain, which is due to insulin resistance, hirsutism and acne, which is due to hyperandrogenemia. And it shows, on ultrasound, it shows multiple small cysts in ovaries. It is diabetogenic. It causes ovulatory dysfunction. It predisposes a woman to metabolic syndrome, and it increases the risk of endometrial cancers. PCOD is rampant across all age groups in our society due to the lifestyle changes we have incorporated in our life: junk food, sedentary lifestyle. So symptoms vary according to the age group. Young adults, young unmarried adults, hirsutism, weight gain, acne, they are very distressful to this age group. In young married females, ovulation dysfunctional. You are not 6 months, 1 year has gone, you're not conceiving, everyone is asking for good news. It is again very distressful to the woman. Then after the reproductive age, the mid-30s, mid-40s, it is a very important cause of abnormal uterine bleeding. You don't get periods for 3 months, and then you bleed so heavily for 20 days, and then 30 days, and then you become anemic. You know, all the diseases are so interrelated. Symptoms vary according to the age group. Now, the investigations we like to go for are ultrasound, hormone levels, serum FSH, LH, TSH, prolactin, estradiol, progesterone and androgen levels, glucose challenge test, HbA1c, follicular monitoring, lipid profile, BMI calculation. Treatment, first and foremost, lifestyle modification, diet and exercise. Metformin to combat, metformin and metformin-like drugs to combat insulin resistance. Cyclic hormones to control, to regulate periods. Ovulation-inducing drugs to correct ovulation dysfunction. Laser and skin peels for acne and hirsutism. Now, the other, as we discussed PCOD, it is an obvious transgression to infertility. Infertility is inability to conceive even after 12 months of regular sexual intercourse. It depends on two factors, male factor and female factor. We must investigate and evaluate male factors simultaneously with the female factor. It not only saves time, but it also eases the pressure on females, you know, which generally the society does. They always keep asking the females, the male doesn't want to go for a semen analysis and they want to get the females to get investigated. Males have a very simple test, semen analysis, which clears most of the things. And 1/3 of infertility cases are due to male infertility, 1/3 due to female factors, and 1/3 due to both. So, male factor infertility can be evaluated by a simple and easy test, and it must never be left. Female factor infertility, ovulatory, there are various factors which can be dysfunctional. Ovulation, tubal patency, hormonal factors, uterine factors. Now, the investigations we would like to go for are CBC, serum thyroid, prolactin, FSH, LH, AMH, estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, all the hormones. Not all in one go. We go step by step, you know. Ultrasounds, TVS, follicular monitoring to assess ovulation, HSG to assess tubal patency, hysteroscopy to assess the uterine cavity, laparoscopy, endometrial biopsy for TB PCR and histopathology. Now, treatment according to the diagnosis: hormonal supplementation, ovulation induction, tubal surgeries, uterine surgeries, IUI, IVF, adoption. I mean, so many. And so the set of investigations are advised according to step by step, and we come to a diagnosis and then we try to treat it. IVF has solved many infertility problems, you know. But still, we should never forget adoption. It is also a very important aspect in our society, where there are so many people who cannot afford IVF, and um, it is such a good way to for parents, for a set of parents who need a child, and there's so many orphans who need parents. So we must never neglect it completely. It is always a good option. White discharge and urinary tract infections. So in our OPD, women experiences the symptom leukorrhea or white discharge multiple times in her life. Causes can be varied. On one end of the spectrum is the vaginitis, simple vaginitis, and on the other end of the spectrum is carcinoma cervix, which is a fatal disease. And in between lies cervicitis, endometritis, PID, cervical or endometrial polyps, cervical intraepithelial neoplasia. So the first and foremost advice to the women is don't keep taking over-the-counter medicines for white discharge. Go and get yourself checked by your gynecologist at least once a year. Even simple inspection by per speculum examination of your cervix gives a fair idea, and it can prove a major role in preventing cervical cancer. Which is the leading cause, which is the leading malignancy in women in India and the leading cause of death. So please, I would advise all the women on this platform, go for screening tests, and even if you don't go for screening tests, once a year checkup by a gynecologist of your cervix is good enough. So UTIs are very common in females, more common than males, because females have a very short urethra, and the distance between the urethral opening and the anal opening is very less. Investigations we would like to go for in the cases of white discharge and UTIs are urine routine, urine culture, per speculum examination by a gynecologist, vaginal swab culture, VIA, Pap test, SPD, colposcopy. These are all screening tests for CA cervix, hysteroscopy, ultrasound, and laparoscopy. Treatment, personal hygiene is very important. Taking plenty of water is very important. Vaginal washes, lactic acid containing lacto-acid bacilli is very important. Vaginal pessaries are a good treatment. When required, we can give oral antifungal, antibiotics, and treating both the partners together is also important. Now we would come to periods-related disorders. See the wide variety of symptoms related to periods. Dysmenorrhea, which is painful periods. Amenorrhea, absent periods. Menorrhagia, heavy periods. Metrorrhagia, on and bleeding in between, on and off. Hypomenorrhea, scanty periods. Causes can be hormonal imbalance, ovarian cyst, fibroid uterus, infection, tuberculosis, polyps, endometrial hyperplasia, endometrial cancers. Investigations we need to go for: hormone levels, TSH, prolactin, FSH, LH, ultrasound, endometrial biopsy, etc. Treatment: hormonal supplements when needed, antibiotics in cases of infections, myomectomy in cases of fibroid, and sometimes hysterectomy, removal of uterus. Now, breast-related disorders. Breast comes in the domain of a surgeon, not a gynecologist, but gynecologists are usually the first ones to diagnose. Women always feel more comfortable to share their breast problems with the gynecologist rather than directly going to a surgeon. So, fibroadenosis. Fibroadenosis is cyclic heaviness and painful breast getting relieved when the periods come. This is related to hormonal up and down. Fibroadenoma is a small mobile lump in breast, which is also called mouse in the breast. It is usually seen in young females. It can be excised, and you can leave it as such also, but usually young females are so much disturbed by the presence of it that it is better to excise. breast abscess is a huge cavity filled with pus, usually seen in lactating mothers. Breast hygiene is very important to prevent it. And plus, despite all hygiene, because your baby is feeding, your baby's mouth is full of bacteria, and when the babies have teeth, they start biting the nipples. So they, you have a tendency to, your breast can get infection and an abscess can get formed. Incision and drainage is the treatment. Sometimes they get subsided with antibiotics. Breast discharge from breast is also another common complaint. It can be galactorrhea due to increased prolactin levels, which is milk-like discharge, and it can be due to infection in the duct system, which can be a greenish or a brownish discharge. Investigations: ultrasound, MRI, mammography, FNSC, excision biopsy, etc. Treatment: vitamin and micronutrient supplements, hormones, IND, mastectomy if required. Hypertension, diabetes, and hypothyroidism. This is again physician's cup of tea, but first time diagnosis usually done by gynecologists in their OPDs. Investigations we usually go for is TFT, anti-TPO, KFT, LFT, lipid profile, fasting blood sugar, postprandial blood sugar, and HbA1c. Treatment: you should go to physician for the treatment as advised by physician. Menopause. Cessation of periods for more than 12 months due to natural decline in female hormones. Premature menopause, less than 40 years. Early menopause, 40 to 45 years. 45 to 50 is the usual age group for menopause. Late menopause is more than 50 years. Perimenopause is 3 to 4 years before actual menopause and 3 to 4 years after actual menopause. You can, your symptoms of menopause can last for 6 to 8 years. 3 years before the actual menopause, actual cessation of periods, and 3 years after the actual cessation of, this is perimenopause. The symptoms are hot flushes, night sweats, sleep disorders, mood swings, irritability, skin and hair changes, dry skin, loss of hair, loss of libido, loss of breast contour. It removes the protective good effect of the female hormones. It predisposes you to heart disease, hypertension, osteoporosis, urinary incontinence. Treatment is diet and exercise is the first line of treatment. Isoflavones, vitamin and nutrient supplements, symptomatic treatment, HRT. HRT is hormone replacement therapy. Calcium and vitamin D deficiency leading to osteoporosis is also a very common complaint. It leads to weak and brittle bones leading to fractures. Osteoporosis is a disease which manifests very late in life, but it is a preventable disorder. And predisposing factors for osteoporosis are malnutrition, recurrent pregnancy and lactation, early menopause, investigations. We usually go for bone densitometry is a gold standard for diagnosing osteoporosis. Serum vitamin D levels is also a very good test. It is very titrable and measurable quantity. Serum calcium levels are not so, it does not reflect your bone status very well. Treatment: diet modification, calcium supplements, exercise, weight-bearing exercise, vitamin D supplements, HRT, biphosphonates, parathyroid hormone injection. So these are the 10 leading women health issues faced by women, complaints which we as gynecologists come across. And on this platform, I would like to put stress on visiting your doctor on your annual checkup. Your annual checkup should include an ultrasound and your screening test for cancers, which are very important. Pap smear and HPV testing for carcinoma cervix and mammography for breast. They can prevent cancers in future life, and you must be regular with them. So I have picked up 10 women health issues out of my Pandora's box and explained to you. I hope it will help all the women who are watching this.
Yes, definitely. Definitely, Dr. Shweta. It was a wonderful presentation, very, very precise and very concise, and covering almost all the women health aspects. So I think now
Each,
we can have.
I would like to say each of this disease can be a webinar, you know, we can have a very detailed, you know, menopause, pregnancy. So I have given you 10 topics for webinar. You can discuss each one of them in detail.
Very true. So then you will have to find out more time for us then. We can definitely have them because it is a very, very crucial issue, you know, but it is not taken very seriously. In our society, women health is completely ignored, and people who ignore it is women themselves.
Yes.
So,
and our priorities are very different. We don't mind spending money on buying clothes, on going to parlors, but we would save the money on getting checkups and going to a gynecologist. So the priorities need to be set, set in the right order.
Yes, very true, Dr. Shweta, very true. Okay, so I have one question, Dr. Shweta. I wanted to ask you that with age, women normally lose their ability to fight diseases, or you should say they lose their immunity, and slowly we feel that we are going low on our energy levels, we are going low on our health. So how should we keep a check on our health status? Is there any health status parameter, or is there any test that we can get it done so that we know that we are healthy or we are not healthy?
Many people are going for annual checkups, which is a very important way to screen diseases at the right time, you know, to diagnose diseases at the right time. And you can keep a check, you can always compare your reports from the last year and your present year. Is your hemoglobin going down? Is your vitamin D level?
Which are the basic tests that one should definitely go every year for?
Look, I would say CBC, which tells you your hemoglobin levels, and CBC. Everyone knows the blood group. So urine routine, you don't have any urine. It tells you whether you have these are the basic. Random blood sugar. If you are HbA1c and random blood sugar, it will diagnose, because when we will get diabetic, we don't know. Every year checkup, in every year checkup, so many things get ruled out these days, because these corporate companies, these people have that corporate annual checkup scheme, corporate annual checkup schemes, and it is a very good way to diagnose. We don't know when we will get diabetic in our life, at 40, at 42, at 44. When you keep, and sometimes you realize that we are having complications, and then we are diagnosing it. It is better to screen and diagnose it at early stage. So sugar, thyroid, serum TSH, vitamin D and vitamin B12 levels, lipid profile, LFT, KFT, and one ultrasound and one checkup by gynecologist. And if she says screening test for cancer, yes, screening test for cancer.
Okay. So there's one more question. I think Miss Sumita wants to ask you. So Sumita, you can put yourself on unmute and then ask. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Mani.
Hello, Sumita.
Hello. Hello, Dr. Shweta. Hello, Dr. Ratneet Kaur. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So this question is to both the expert panelists. Now, as all the elders and doctors say that delivery, whether normal or cesarean, is a rebirth for a woman. So what should be the specific nutrition plan or diet plan for feeding mothers or new mothers to recover sooner and also minimize the medicine impact for long term?
I would like to comment that our ancestors were truly right in saying this. When we see such serious complications of pregnancies, severe hypertension, patient getting seizures, anemic patients, going into congestive heart failure. So pregnancy is a real stress to women, and to come out of it safely is a a blessing. You know, every time, every time a woman risks her life to become a mother, I would say. And
Yes.
but yes, for your diet chart, I think Rashmeet is a better person. I have, not mentioned any dietary this thing, only diet modification, first line treatment, because I'm looking forward to her dietary tips this time.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think I was looking for the answers. I thought I will present my screens first and then we'll answer it. But since you have asked, because many points I have already covered in my presentation.
Okay,
So,
so we can,
you can answer it later.
yeah. All right. Thank you. Shall I start presenting my screen?
One more question is there. 1 second, Rasmeet. There is one more question for Dr. Shweta. That is, what are the symptoms for cervical cancer? Are there any symptoms that one can concept? अपने आप ही अगर आप देख सको कि ये symptoms हैं या
अभी थोड़ी देर में.
Like without going to the doctor, are there any symptoms that one can?
Yes, the common symptoms are of CA cervix are white discharge, chronic white discharge. Later on, they start getting blood stained, and it is a very common, non-conspicuous. Vaginitis also has white discharge. Cervicitis also has white discharge. So many. I mean, vaginitis is such a common ailment experienced by women so many times throughout her life. So it is a very missable feature. The problem is this. Hence, that is why I am again and again, after 25, the screening test says, our guidelines say after 25 years, a pap smear every 3 years and HPV testing every 5 years. And once they are consecutively negative, then we can increase the span. Then once they are consecutively negative for 3 times, like, it takes around 10 years for a pap smear to be consecutively negative thrice, and it takes 15 years for a HPV test to be consecutively negative thrice. So then we can increase the span. But it is very important. It is very important to go for the screening test, because discharge, and later on when this blood stain discharges comes later on when the disease has grown. So it is a very non-conspicuous feature. So that's why I'm again and again stressing that all people who have white discharge problem should at least go once in a year to the gynecologist to get a first speculum examination by her. Just don't go to the chemist, take the medicines for white discharge and ignore it.
Okay. So I think that is a very, very valuable information that we have got. And I think everybody should take it very seriously.
Yes.
So thank you, Dr. Shweta. Thank you for the wonderful, informative presentation and session. And I would like you to please stop your screen share so that we can have a picture with you at a bigger screen.
Yeah, sure.
Stop share कर दीजिए मैम.
Okay.
Dr. Shweta, maybe it's end screen.
Yeah. I've done.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you. So thank you once again, Dr. Shweta. Now I would like to invite Ms. Rasmeet for the session, and the session is yours now, Rasmeet. Please kindly guide us and sail us through the women health via nutrition.
Yeah. Very good evening to everyone attending the webinar. Ma'am, is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible. Full screen kar le, bas, full screen kar. Yes.
Done? Yeah. Very good evening to everyone, and thank you so much, Doctor, for enlightening us on women health. I am going to cover the nutritional aspects of the women. But before starting, I should emphasize that how women play a very important role in everybody's life. Women are the backbone of family. I can say women are the backbone of the nation. A healthy women will lead to healthy family and a healthy nation. So women's nutrition is always, women prioritize their work, their family, but they don't prioritize their health. It is always seen that women, they don't give much time to their health. They are the last and least to eat on the table. So today we are going to discuss how women's nutritional requirements are unique and how they are different from men. But before starting my presentation, I would like to give you the outline that what points we will be covering in the presentation. We will start with the nutritional needs of the women, of the adult women, I must say, who are in their 20s and 30s, that what an ideal woman should be eating. You know, before coming to the diseases part, what are the different diseases that are women usually suffer, like PCOD and infertility and hypertension, all can be covered only after covering the basics, that what women should be eating. So that we will discuss, and how much should be eating and how to plan that in a very that will give you the better picture that how the requirements are there, and then how they should be modified for the diseases. So then we will cover, what the women, how ideal thali should be, how your plate should be when you're starting your meal, what should be the, how your thali should look. So that will give you an idea that whether you are taking adequate nutrition or not. Then we'll be covering PCOD, diet in PCOD, diet in hypothyroidism, diet in hypertension, and diet in menopause, the dietary tips and all. So let's start without taking more time. Let's start with the presentation, and how women have unique nutritional needs, because women undergo different stages in their life, from puberty to menstruation to adulthood to pregnancy, lactation, and menopause. These are the different phases of women's life, and with each phase, with each transitional phase, their nutritional requirements differ. So it is very important, because you know how they are different from men, because women undergo more of the hormonal changes, more of, emotional and physiological changes are there in women's life. Therefore, their needs are very unique. So according to a study by UNICEF and NFHS4 in 2015 and 16, a quarter of the women of reproductive age are undernourished. That means those who are in the reproductive age, that is 20 to 39 years of age, they are undernourished with a BMI less than 18.5 kilogram per meter square. Undernourished mother will lead to undernourished baby. You know, you can't expect a healthy baby out of an undernourished mother, and that will lead to intergenerational cycle of undernutrition. So a women's nutrition is very important. Right diet is very important for women. So that's how healthy women leads to healthy nation. Eating well is very much required for all stages of the life cycle, whether you are in your adolescence, whether you are adult, or you are pregnant, or you are lactating, or you are in the old age. Eating well at all the stages of life cycle is very much required. How a women and men nutritional requirements differ, as children, boys and girls have almost same kind of dietary needs. They don't vary much. But with the onset of puberty, with the onset of menarche, what happens? There are hormonal changes that start taking place in women's body, and that's how the women nutritional requirement differ with men. Now the difference that is seen is not because they are gender specific, because male and female differences are there. No, it is basically because of the body composition, because in women's body there is more of fat deposits as compared to men. So women have lesser muscular weight in their body as compared to men. Now, because men have more muscle mass, that is why their nutritional needs are more. Not nutritional needs, I must say the energy needs are more for men. But as compared to women, their energy needs are more for men. But when it comes to the vitamins and minerals, that requirement is definitely more in women as compared to men. Now, how the nutritional, what should be the adult women should be eating? Adult women, as suggested by ICMR and National Institute of Nutrition, she is the women who is non-pregnant, non-lactating, and of childbearing age, who's 20 to 39 years of age. And there, the nutritional requirements are there because of the breakdown and repair of body tissues that goes on inside the body, not for the growth, because growth has stopped in adulthood phase. But adequate nutrition will lead to a healthy old age. Now, why adequate nutrition is important? Again, because women are prone to diseases like anemia, weakened bones, and osteoporosis. As doctor has also suggested, all these diseases are very common in women. So there are certain vital nutrients that can prevent the onset of diseases, and also they play a very important role in women's life, like iron, calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, and folate. We will be discussing all these in the coming slide. But before that, let's see how the recommended dietary allowances for Indian women are. These are again segregated on the basis of the work that a women do. You know, the energy requirement basically, and all the nutritional requirements are according to the physical activity. How active you are, that will calculate your energy. So sedentary work would be a teacher who is doing more of desk job. That will be sedentary work. She can be a banker. A moderate worker would be a homemaker who's doing all the house chores herself. That will be a moderate worker, or a maid or a mali that is coming to your place. So these are all the categories of a moderate worker. Then heavy work is, again, it can be a sports person, and athlete can be falling into this category. Then there is segregation for pregnant, lactation for 0 to 6 months and 6 to 12 months. So energy requirement do change. All the macronutrients, as you can see, macronutrients are protein, carbohydrates, fats. These are all macronutrients. So their requirements do change with the physiological states and with the work activity. So that you can see calcium, iron, dietary folate, they all play very important role in women's life. So these are the requirements given by ICMR. Then there are other micronutrients like vitamins and minerals, like vitamin A, vitamin B. Then this is vitamin B12 and vitamin C, magnesium, zinc. All these recommended dietary allowances are again segregated on the basis of the work. Some of them, like B vitamins, are dependent on energy. So that is why there is segregation. Other vitamins and minerals, they are not dependent on energy. That is why they are not segregated here. So these are the dietary allowances that has been given by ICMR. Now, before starting to talk about, the diet and diseases and all, we must know what is a healthy diet for women. You know, everybody is curious कि यार क्या खाएं हम खाने में, ऐसा खाएं जिससे हम healthy रहें. Everybody wants to stay healthy. But what is a healthy diet? A healthy diet is nothing. It is nothing. How I explain it to my clients is how we used to eat traditionally in India. We have forgotten that. The thali system that we have forgotten. The way we used to eat. We should not forget our roots. That was the healthy diet. That was the balanced diet, because there was variety in the meals. So a balanced diet or healthy diet is one which prevents you from disease, and it gives you all the essential nutrients in right amounts and proportion. That is very important thing. You know, you may be eating all the variety in your diet, but you are doing it in excess. That will lead to overweight or obesity. If you are not taking in it right amount, then again you will get deficient in all those nutrients. So a balanced diet is one which has all the nutrition, all the nutrients. When I say nutrients, it's protein, carbohydrate, fats, where you get energy from, then vitamins and minerals. These are the major nutrients in our diet. Now, when we say it is a balanced diet, when 60 to 70% of total calories are coming from carbohydrate, 10 to 12% are coming from protein, and only 20 to 25% are coming from fat. So that is a balanced diet. Now, how to achieve that? A simple way, thumb rule, is adding variety to your diet, adding variety to your thali. Are you eating the same kind of foods every day? Are you eating the same kind of dal? Are you choosing just 2-3 vegetables for a week and you keep rotating them for your diet? So you have to see that how you are eating. What kind of variety you are adding in your diet? Are you adding variety in the form of colors? Are you selecting different kinds of vegetables and fruits which are more rich in colors? Because these are also rich in antioxidants and they are very good for your health. So a healthy diet would be one which has variety. And also a healthy diet would be one which has less amount of sugar, added sugar, I must say. Sugar is also present in the natural form in all food products, but the added sugar, I must emphasize, we should emphasize that added sugar should be the least in your food, and sodium, that is salt, and saturated fats and trans fat. We'll discuss all these things in detail in the coming slides. Now, how you can plan that, by the simple way is by segregating the foods into the food groups. Now, what are the major food groups? Cereal, pulses, cereal, millets and grains and their product is the first food group. Second is pulses and legumes. Third is milk and milk products and non-vegetarian sources like eggs, meats and poultry. And vegetables and fruits are the fourth. And fifth is oil, fats, nuts and oil seeds. So these are the major 5 food groups that are being given by Indian Council of Medical Research and National Institute of Nutrition. When you segregate them, you will see that, if I ask you that, 3 major meals mein hum kya kha rahe hain? So 3 major meals, that is your breakfast, lunch and dinner. If you see your plate, you should have all the food groups in your plate. 1 item or 2 items from that food group, a single food group. So covering all the 5 food groups, you will have a balanced diet in your plate. So that's how you can achieve it. Next, another important thing is remember the food pyramid. Food pyramid is, again, segregation of the food groups in how much amount they should be taking, you should be taking. So the base of the pyramid is one which your diet should be having adequate amount of those, like cereals, pulses, milk and milk products. Your diet should have adequate amount of it. Then eat liberally. You can see, eat liberally. What are the fruits and vegetables fall into this category because they are not much in calories. So you can, whenever you feel hungry, you can have them as snack, as salad. You can have fruits and vegetables liberally in your diet. Then eat moderately. Now, what are the food products that you should be eating moderately? Are, fats and oils and meat products that you should be eating moderately. They should not be excess, because again, excess of everything is bad, whether it's your nutrients or it's anything else. Excess of anything is bad. And the tip of the pyramid, as you can see, are the food products that we relish. Everybody relishes. Like we had covered the food pyramid tip. And so the food pyramid shows eating all these food products and how much amount that you should be taking. Along with it, as you can see, exercise regularly and be physically active. You cannot expect good results on diet alone. You have to have physical activity in your day-to-day life. The more active you are, the more your health will improve. So that is the next thing. Now, how much you should be eating? Again, this is for adults, women who's sedentary worker. The requirements are given like this: cereal and millets, you can have 9 portions in your diet, vegetables 3, fruits 3, fruits 1, milk and milk products 3, pulses and vegetables, as you can see, pulses 2, non-vegetarian agar aap hain to 1 portion of pulse and 1 non-vegetarian. So these are the things that you can have, but these I must tell you that this is just for your reference. Individual needs are different, individual requirements are different. These are given for general population, not for individualized. They are not individualized. So if you think that this is for you and me, no, this is not. This is just a general thing that has been given for a general adult sedentary women. Now, how your thali should look, that is a very interesting slide. I think you all can relate to it. When we talk about healthy diet, we don't understand it in the terms of layman. They don't understand what a healthy diet should be. So this is how your thali should look. In the form of, if I talk about raw foods and cereals, you can see half of the plate on the right side, you can see raw plate, raw food items are there. So half of the plate is covered with fruits and vegetables. A quarter of your plate is covered with cereals and nutraceuticals. And again, the rest of the quarter is again divided into 3 parts: pulses, eggs and flesh foods, nuts and seeds, and fats and oil. So fats and oil, you can see just a small proportion has to be there in your diet, but you cannot exclude it. There are some people who just think that fat will make you fat. It is a myth. Nuts and seeds, they are very important for your diet. I will discuss all about this in the coming slide. And a bowl of curd or milk or buttermilk you can have at your side. So this is a raw food ingredient plate. This is the ideal meal plate that you should consume. And then there is the cooked version that you can see, again, as given by ICMR, is how your thali should look. Now, again, the proportions and amounts are not for you and me. It is just to give you an idea that how your plate should be. It's not like you have to consume all of this. Amounts and proportions vary individually according to your age, according to your weight, according to your physiological state. All these things, they account to different nutritional requirements. So this is not individualized. This is just to give you a general idea how your plate should look. It should have a dal, it should have a katori of curd, green leafy vegetable, then there is other vegetable and a fruit, then egg and rice or roti, whatever you wish, and then this is salad. So this is the ideal plate that you can have an idea about how your diet should be, how a balanced diet is. And this ideal plate is meeting 2000 kilocalories. It is again for population, not individual specific, and not for any medical condition. And medical condition, their requirements are different and they are computed by a qualified dietitian only. So you should always refer to a nutritionist, not to your Google doctor, for your requirements, that how how much you should be taking and how much not you should be taking. So a complete diet provides all these things, all the unknown substances and nutrients that cannot be met through the supplements also. So this is very important, इससे मुझे एक बात याद आती है, अभी लॉकडाउन में व्हाट हैपेंड, टर्मरिक के ऊपर एक बहुत ही एवरीबडी वाज सेइंग, यू शुड कंज्यूम टर्मरिक, इट हैज curcumin, so it will boost your immunity. Now until and unless हमारे इंडियंस के साथ में तो स्पेसिफिकली ये है कि जब तक पिल बना के नहीं दे दे ना, एक मेडिसिन बना के दे दे और बोले कि हाँ दिस इज गुड फॉर यू, then you realize this thing is good for you. You don't remember turmeric is there in your masala box since ages. And it's not a one day thing. Your immunity is going to develop in a overnight. Immunity develops over a period of time by eating a balanced diet along with the superfoods. Now these days everybody is after superfoods, eat this and that and your immunity is going to get boosted up. No, this is not so. You have to have a complete well-rounded diet, and it will take time to develop your immunity. It will not be developed in a day. So coming to the supplements, don't go for supplements, don't go for over-the-counter medicines. Don't think that you need some mineral is deficient. Google ne bol diya ki your body is deficient in certain minerals because you are facing these kind of symptoms and you are going to take the supplement. That is absolutely wrong, and that can be hazardous. That can be more harmful to you rather than adding to any benefit to your diet or your health. So coming to points that we have already discussed, that how your plate should be, it should have variety, it should have locally available seasonal foods, your meal timing should be fixed, you should chew and eat your food properly. That is the most important thing. When you have to, nobody should tell you how much you have to eat. Some people ask me, ma'am, hum kitna khaye? कितना खाएं, your body should be able to decide कितना खाएं. Why have you forgotten that, किसी infant को आप overfeed नहीं करा सकते हो क्या? She or he will stop consuming breast milk the moment she or he is full. You cannot overfeed the child. Similarly, जब child को पता है कि हमें कितना खाना है, हमारी body को पता है, it sends the signals, but we are too busy with our phones when we are eating. We are too busy with checking our emails and watching our TV shows along with our food. So that's how we forget that your body is sending signals to stop. My stomach is already full. That process takes approximately 20 times. The stomach sends the signal to brain to stop consuming more food. And if you're eating too fast, that 20-minute time period is already gone. And by the time you end your meal, you are over full. So that's how chewing well and eating slowly is very, very important, along with eating balanced diet, keeping yourself hydrated, have sips of water, always keep a water bottle. When you are doing any work at the computer or you are doing anything, always remember to carry a bottle everywhere with you so that it keeps reminding you that it's water time, and you have to take a sip. Be physically active. That is the most important thing that we have already discussed. Now coming to some vital nutrients which play a very, very important role in women's life. Now, irrespective of the age, irrespective of the diseases, irrespective of the life cycle which a woman is undergoing, these nutrients play a very, very important role. Calcium, vitamin D, iron, folate, and magnesium. They improve your energy and mood. They boost your fertility, healthy pregnancy, and easing the symptoms of menopause. So all these nutrients are very, very important. Coming to our first nutrient, that is healthy bones. Now, calcium, we all know that calcium are required for healthy bones and teeth. Now, again, the RDAs are 600 milligram per day. But why it is important for women? Calcium को हम इतना क्यों stress कर रहे हैं? Because it is required during all the phases of women's life, like adolescence, easing the symptom of premenstrual syndrome या menstruation के time पे जो syndromes होते हैं हमें उस time पे भी calcium plays a very important role, pregnancy and lactation and menopause women. So all these I think role we have already, doctor has already discussed the role, so I'm not stressing on that. Now, what are the dietary sources of calcium? This is very important. We all know calcium is found in milk and milk products, that we all know, but there are many other non-dairy sources like ragi or nachni is a very good source of calcium. Chickpeas, that is white chole, dals, lentils, rajgira, almonds, til, soya bean, fish, all these are very, very good sources of calcium. Now, taking calcium alone will not work. Vitamin D is required for the absorption of calcium. So if you think that you are taking calcium sandoz or you're taking calcium supplements and you are not taking vitamin D, then the calcium is not going to absorb in your body. So the most inexpensive way is to have sunlight exposure for at least 10 to 15 minutes in a day. That will suffice, because vitamin D is present already in our skin, but it is in the form of inactive form underneath our skin. So to activate it, we have to go in the sun and get it activated. Then only it will be utilized by your body. So that's how vitamin D plays a very important role. Other sources, there are not many sources of vitamin D. It is found in milk products, milk and milk products, but those who are fortified. ऐसा नहीं जो हमारे घर में milkman milk लेके आया है, that milk is not going to have vitamin D. Only the milk which has been fortified will have milk. So plus F का symbol you can check on the milk packets. That is, most of the companies have fortified milk. Fatty fish and eggs are again good sources of vitamin D. Now, along with calcium and vitamin D, the most important thing is to be physically active, because bone ki density mein, along with vitamins and along with calcium and vitamin D, it is very important to have regular physical activity. Then only your bone density can increase. So either you can go for brisk walk, weight bearing exercises like dancing, yoga, whatever suits you, do it. Be physically active. ऐसे नहीं कि पूरा दिन हम सोचें कि हमको एक सेपरेट टाइम निकालना है एक्टिविटी के लिए, वो तो निकालना ही है, बट सम डेज इट्स नॉट फीजिबल, यू नो, सम डेज यू आर टू बिजी फॉर इट, some days it's not feasible to be. So that day what you can do is do your work on your own, move around, take more steps. जितना चलोगे, जितना काम खुद करोगे, उतना आप you are involved in physical activities. So just don't sit, don't be a couch potato, be physically active throughout the day, not for certain period of time. आधा घंटा हमने जिमिंग कर ली, आधा घंटा हमने कुछ एक्टिविटी कर ली, एंड देन यू फील पूरा दिन बाकी दिन हम सिर्फ आराम करेंगे, विल सिट ऑन द काउच, विल वॉच टीवी एंड डू नथिंग एल्स. दैट विल नॉट डू. वो आधे घंटे का कोई बेनिफिट नहीं है. थ्रू आउट द डे व्हेन यू आर एक्टिव, दैट प्लेज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. Third important nutrient is iron. Iron, again, as ma'am has suggested, doctor has already suggested that women may anemia is most common in women. So iron deficiency leads to anemia. Hemoglobin levels, hemoglobin की formation में iron plays a very important role. To transport the oxygen also iron plays a very important role. So throughout puberty, menstruation and pregnancy, iron requirements are more for women. So that is a very essential mineral in every woman's diet. And another important thing that we must know is iron is not easily absorbed in our body. You know, sometimes we think that we are taking adequate sources of iron, but iron is one mineral which gets, you know, the least absorbed in your body. And specifically जो plant food से iron के sources हैं, वो तो बिल्कुल ही, you know, 2 to 5% है खाली उसका absorption. And as compared to the heme iron is the iron present in non-veg sources, जैसे eggs में, fish में, meat में जो iron present है, that is utilized better in your body as compared to the plant sources. So since India में mostly vegetarian people are there, that is why anemia is very common, because vegetarians में iron absorption again is very poor. So what are the iron sources that you can see? Cereals में rice flakes, puff rice, whole wheat flour, ragi, bajra are excellent sources of iron. Soya bean, your whole chana, like the bhuna hua chana as you say, lobia, lentils like dals and peas, dried peas definitely. जो snacks की तरफ भी आप उसको खा सकते हो अपनी diet में. As a snack you can have a handful of roasted chana or peas dried or soya beans in your diet. And dark green leafy vegetable, they are all good sources of iron in plant sources हैं ये सारे. Animal sources we have already discussed. Then another important vitamin is vitamin B9, that is folate. Again ये fertility के लिए बहुत important है. Doctor ने already हमने सुना अभी slides में उनके कि folate is very important when you are trying to conceive. folic acid is given. Folic acid जब supplement में देते हैं तो it is called as folic acid, and जब हम dietary sources से लेते हैं it is called as folate. So for childbearing age it is required, for pregnancy it is required, and also for menopause it is required. And there are many roles that folic acid plays. I am not stressing on the roles because doctor has already discussed that. Now coming to the dietary sources of folate, again fresh green leafy vegetables and pulses are excellent sources of folate. So whatever dark green leafy vegetable you can find is definitely going to be good in folic acid or folate. Other sources are your whole chana, amaranth, that is rajgira, Bengal gram dal, mint, and lady's finger, and eggs. They are all good sources of folate. Magnesium is another mineral that plays very important role in your body. Why it is important for women? Because it helps in fighting depression. You know, sometimes menopausal women, एक symptom देखा जाता है menopause में depression का. So magnesium is again plays very important role in depression. It reduces your insulin resistance, anti-inflammatory benefits हैं, जो chronic lifestyle diseases हैं उसको combat करने में भी magnesium plays a very important role and easing the symptoms of PMS. Now what are the sources? यहाँ पे एक सोर्स मेंशन नहीं है, दैट इज फॉक्स नट्स, जो हम बोलते हैं मखाने. मखाने आर ऑल्सो वेरी गुड सोर्स ऑफ मैग्नीशियम. Along with that, pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, they all are good sources of magnesium. Spinach and fatty fish. Quinoa is also very good source of magnesium. Now coming to menopause. Menopause, again, this is one transitional phase in your women's life that every woman has to undergo. When your reproductive system is going to retire, the hormones that the female produce are going to get decreased, like estrogen and progesterone, they get decreases with your with your age. So as the women reaches menopause, the average age is 51 years. Maybe it is sometimes women goes in menopause prior to this age or later to this age, it depends. The symptoms are hot flashes, night sweats, weight gain, sleep disturbances. All these symptoms are very common, but they do vary individually to individually. Health risk associated with menopause, most of the women with menopause are at greater risk of gaining weight, and especially around the belly area. Tummy में ज्यादातर fat deposits देखा जाता है menopause की age में. High cholesterol, high BP, hypertension की problem, insulin resistance, जैसे मैम ने अभी बात करी. What happens is body can't use insulin efficiently हमारी body में. So these are all, they can lead to diabetes, type 2 diabetes also. So these are the health risks associated with menopause. Coming to our dietary management and how we manage menopause and hypertension. The thumb rule is again eat well and be physically active. As ma'am has suggested, the first line of treatment is nutritional in all these things: menopause, hypertension, hypothyroidism. They all are managed if you are having a good lifestyle, if you are having a good diet. They all can be managed very well with the diet. So they are very important. Eating well and physically active, and energy requirements, they do decrease because BMR हमारा decrease हो जाता है. Now what is BMR? BMR is body basal metabolic rate. Now basal metabolic rate जब हम बात कर नहीं है क्या? All right. So I'm so sorry. Am I audible, ma'am? Ma'am, is it audible? Okay. So nutrient dense food. Nutrient dense foods we should be taking, like whole grains, fresh fruits and vegetables in menopause, and energy dense foods like fats और sugar से भरे हुए जो खाने हैं वो हमें avoid करने हैं menopause के time पे, because they all lead to weight gain, and already weight gain is one of the health risks associated with menopause. Adequate calcium and vitamin D that we have already discussed in our previous slides, and lean protein. Lean proteins are the good sources of protein with lesser amount of fat, जैसे chicken हो गया, fish हो गया, these are lean protein. Then the vegetarian sources of protein जैसे beans है, pulses है, and soya beans, milk products, they all are low fat milk and milk products. They all are good sources of protein. Then next is your again coming to menopause and hypertension में और क्या चीजें हम कर सकते हैं? Healthy fats, that is saturated fat हमें avoid करना है. Saturated fats कौन से होते हैं? वो fats जो solid रहते हैं room temperature पे, they are saturated fats. तो हमें क्या करना है? We can swap butter with healthy oils like vegetable oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, mustard oil. हम लोग swap कर सकते हैं butter को, margarine को इनसे. And choose low fat dairy product because they are not just high in protein, they also impart good sleep, but also they are good in vitamins and minerals. So low fat dairy products are again good to go. Omega-3 fats and phytoestrogens, they both of them play very important role in menopause. Now, what are omega-3 fats? Omega-3 fats have many research has shown that it decreases the frequency of hot flashes and severity of night sweats in menopausal women. So what are the sources of omega-3 fats? They are found in seeds. Have a mix of your seed every day to prevent yourself from all these chronic diseases. You can have a seed mix of flax seeds, chia seeds, methi dana. Soybean are also very good sources of omega-3 fats. Apart from this, there are non-vegetarian sources like fatty fish and eggs. They are all good sources of omega-3 fats. फाइटोइस्ट्रोजेंस, ये भी हमने सुना होगा कहीं ना कहीं, फाइटोइस्ट्रोजेंस लेने चाहिए डाइट में मेनोपॉज में डेफिनेटली. क्यों? बिकॉज फाइटोइस्ट्रोजेंस दे आर सिमिलर इन स्ट्रक्चर टू एस्ट्रोजन, सो दे एक्ट एज वीक एस्ट्रोजन इन योर बॉडी. Now, how they help? They can ease the symptoms because हमारी बॉडी में एस्ट्रोजन का लेवल कम हो जाता है मेनोपॉज के टाइम पे. So जब कम हो जाता है एस्ट्रोजन का लेवल, तो what can happen? There are symptoms associated with low estrogen. So उसको combat करने के लिए there are phytoestrogen which can act as weak estrogen in your body. So that is why they play a very important role. They are found only in plant sources, and there are two main types: isoflavones and lignans. Phytoestrogen rich foods कौन से हैं? सोया बीन. They are excellent source of phytoestrogen. So they are a must go in any menopausal diet. Tofu and soya milk. Flax seeds are again, जो अलसी होती है, हम जिसको अलसी बोलते हैं, they are again very good sources of phytoestrogen. And there are many other nuts and whole grains and cereal that are rich in phytoestrogen. Now, what are the food that you should avoid during menopause? Hypertension में भी. Hypertension is again, हमने अलग से इसको इसलिए नहीं cover किया because most of the dietary tips are similar. So that is why I'm covering both of them together, menopause and hypertension. Hypertension में we say that you have to restrict your salt. High salty foods, salt, that is sodium. Sodium is present in salt. So sodium is already present in natural form in many food products. तो हम salt जो ऊपर से table salt लेते हैं या जो diet में हम डाल रहे हैं, वो salt तो है ही. Along with it, फूड के अंदर ऑलरेडी इनविजिबल फॉर्म में सॉल्ट प्रेजेंट है, सोडियम प्रेजेंट है. सो दैट इज व्हाई द सॉल्ट जो हम ऊपर से डाल रहे हैं, हम उसको कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. जो नेचुरली प्रेजेंट है उसको तो हम कंट्रोल कर नहीं सकते. सो दैट इज व्हाई इट इज एडवाइज टू टेक लिमिटेड अमाउंट ऑफ दैट सॉल्ट. आप बिलीव नहीं करोगे, इंडियन डाइट में 10 to 15 gram of salt are being consumed, and we can limit this salt intake. The requirement is not that much. We should be taking at least 3 gram बोला जाता है कि salt, अगर आपको hypertension है तो your diet should have less than 3 gram of salt in your diet. तो उसके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं? We can avoid food products that are rich in salt, जैसे कि chips हैं, processed foods हैं. Processed food में sodium अलग से add किया जाता है as a preservative and for additive also. So processed foods को कम से कम हम लें तो that will be better for us during menopause and hypertension as well, because high salt food, they will lead to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and that will lead to cardiovascular diseases. Caffeine and alcohol also play very important role. They are sleep disruptors, so we should avoid having at least 2 to 3 cups से ज़्यादा ना लें caffeine अपनी diet में. Caffeine is present in tea or coffee. Added sugars and processed foods, that should be limited in your diet. And spicy foods, although spicy foods के लिए थोड़ा evidence is not there to support it, but some studies have shown that it is related to hot flashes and anxiety levels. So try to have less spicy food in your diet. Bottom line is eat healthy, drink lots of water, and be physically active. Now coming to our next disease, that is PCOD and infertility. PCOD is again, as doctor has suggested, many young women of childbearing age, they are suffering from PCOD. You will find it as a common disease in girls and women. And इसमें क्या होता है? Insulin resistance हो जाती है. Insulin resistance is your body is producing, body is not able to utilize the insulin that is being produced. Insulin के levels high हो जाते हैं blood में. क्यों high हो जाते हैं? Because insulin is required for the absorption of blood sugar. अब blood sugar high रहती है, blood sugar और high हो जाती है क्योंकि insulin से वो हमको मिल नहीं पा रही है sugar. तो what will happen? It leads to insulin resistance और sugar levels हमारी blood में high पाए जाते हैं. So that leads to type 2 diabetes also. So insulin resistance is again one of the common symptoms. और यही reason है कि हमारे पास जो patients आते हैं, clients आते हैं, जिससे हमारा weight reduce नहीं हो रहा है, हमने सब कुछ करके देख लिया, but they don't know that they are suffering from PCOD. कई बार तो हमारे पास जो क्लाइंट्स आते हैं उनके हम ब्लड टेस्ट कराते हैं, उनको मतलब स्कैनिंग उनकी होती है, मैम को गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट को रेफर करते हैं, तब जाके पता लगता है, बिकॉज सिम्टम्स हमें पता होते हैं कि ये सिम्टम्स हैं, एंड देन वी रेफर इट कि आप एक बार अपनी यू गेट योरसेल्फ चेक्ड, एंड दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई योर वेट इज नॉट रिड्यूसिंग व्हेन द डिजीज इज, अगर आपको डिजीज पता ही नहीं है देन यू कैन क्योर दैट. Highly dietary management is not sufficient. We have to know that what is happening inside your body so that you can modify your diet. So healthy diet plus physical activity, you can manage your PCOD very well, and results are really good. So what are the things that are suggested to eat during PCOD? Anti-inflammatory foods that leads to chronic diseases, जैसे lifestyle related diseases हैं, hypertension, blood pressure, and cardiovascular diseases, type 2 diabetes. These are all foods जो inflammatory foods होते हैं वो लेने से होती है. So anti-inflammatory foods क्या है? They are more of fruits and vegetables in your diet, more of whole grains in your diet, nuts and legumes. They all are anti-inflammatory food that should be included in your diet. Then healthy oils and nuts, healthy fats, omega-3 fats, low-fat dairy products. They are the things that you should be eating in your PCOD. And what should be avoided? Avoided is refined carbohydrate. Refined carbohydrate is all the maida product. A maida product में खाली मैदा से बने हुआ केक नहीं है. All the bakery products are made from maida. So all the refined carbohydrates, they have lesser nutrition and more of energy giving. So they lead to more weight gain. So refined carbohydrate you should avoid. Then there are processed food. Processed food, जब भी बात आती है तो मैं अपने क्लाइंट्स को भी यही समझाती हूँ कि प्रोसेस, नॉट ऑल प्रोसेस फूड्स आर बैड. हमारे एक मिसकंसेप्शन भी हो गया है कि सारे प्रोसेस फूड्स आर बैड. द पैकेट ऑफ दाल दैट यू आर बाइंग फ्रॉम मार्केट, और अ पैकेट ऑफ राइस फ्लेक्स, पोहे का पैकेट लेके आ रही हूँ मैं मार्केट से, दैट इज ऑल्सो इन द पैकेट. सो एनीथिंग दैट इज कमिंग इन पैकेट, बॉक्स, कैन इज अ प्रोसेस फूड. तो वो सारा इज नॉट बैड. ऑल दोज फूड प्रोडक्ट्स आर नॉट बैड. दाल भी मैं कंज्यूम कर रही हूँ तो दैट प्रोसेसिंग इज डन टू मेक इट मोर एडिबल. That processing is not bad. But which are the processed food that are bad? Which are very highly processed. जैसे कि उसके अंदर बहुत सारे ऐसे preservatives and additives डाले गए हैं, plus they are high in fats, sugars and added sugars and carbohydrates, more of sodium is there. So that is why those processed foods are bad. अब वो कौन से हैं? Biscuits, confectionery, cakes, cookies, pastries, ready to eat, ready to cook kind of food, Maggi and all those products that are available ready to cook, 2 मिनट में बनने वाली चीजें. They are convenience food. They are more being consumed by working mothers also, क्योंकि वो time savers हैं, but they are not good for your health. So they all come into the category of processed food. They should be avoided. Diet and hypothyroidism. Again, hypothyroidism is a very, very common problem in women these days. Thyroid plays a very important role. Every cell in your body, it plays a very important role in your metabolism, in the growth, in the repair. So those who are hypothyroidism, who are suffering from hypothyroidism, they have symptoms like easily they get tired. थोड़ा सा काम किया नहीं, they get very tired, they get fatigued, and they get very cold. और सबसे एक जो point देखा जाता है, that is gain in weight. And when the weight is being increased over the period of time, and you don't know that you are suffering from this disease, you get your thyroid levels checked and you get to know that you are suffering from hypothyroidism. So that is again another thing. How diet plays an important role in hypothyroidism. The basic rule is having a balanced diet. Few years back, it was when I was studying. At that time, period of time, hypothyroidism में restrictive diet follow किया जाता था. All the products which have goitrogens, अभी हम आगे discuss करेंगे what are goitrogens, उनको restrict कर दिया जाता था. But now research के साथ में there is no need for restriction. Moderation is the key. You can have it once in a while, those products as well. Now, why diet is not alone in treating hypothyroidism. If you think that you are going to treat your hypothyroidism just by diet itself, it's not possible. You have to have your thyroid medications along with it, then only you can manage it. But yes, there are some food products that you can include in your diet and avoid it to give better results. So what are the foods that can give good results? Are iodine, selenium, and zinc rich foods. Iodine is the first. आयोडीन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट, बट ये बहुत इजीली हम कंज्यूम कर सकते हैं. कैसे? आयोडाइज सॉल्ट परचेज करके और उसको यूज करके. आयोडाइज सॉल्ट मार्केट में जो भी हम सॉल्ट कंज्यूम करें, जस्ट चेक इट, रीड योर फूड लेबल, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. मैंने इस पे यूट्यूब वीडियो भी डाला है. it is very important to check your food labels. क्योंकि जब तक आपको food label पढ़ना नहीं आएगा, you will not be able to know what you are eating. You don't know what the food industry is. What are the food products that are being made? How they are made? You don't know. It is unseen. Nobody has seen it. So you should check. You should be able to check, and you should also teach your kids to check your food labels. Iodized salt, seafood, and saltwater fish, whole eggs, they all are good sources of iodine. And there are selenium-rich sources that can be included in hypothyroidism: eggs, cottage cheese, seeds, again, nuts, quinoa, mushroom. They all are rich in selenium. Selenium also plays an important role in depression. So all these food products, they are very important. They also play as antioxidants in your diet. Zinc is another important mineral which acts as antioxidant. It is a beauty mineral. Good hair, good skin, good nails, zinc is required. Sources are just handful of nuts and 1 teaspoon of seeds in a day. That's all. Zinc deficiency, non-vegetarian people में generally देखी नहीं जाती है, because those who are eating non-vegetarian, they get enough of zinc from their diet. But it is generally seen in people with, who are plant-based or vegetarian diets they are taking. So you can add nuts and seeds in your diet and you are done with zinc. How to avoid and what to eat in moderation? Avoid highly processed food, as we have discussed previously also, and millets also, that should be avoided. And eat in moderation. And there are some food containing goitrogens. Goitrogens are the substances जो अभी हम बात कर रहे थे कि when I used to study, these food products were banned for hypothyroidism. But now the research has suggested that you don't need a restrictive kind of diet. You can have them once in a while, because these are, when they are being cooked, the goitrogens activity is decreased. So when you cook it, there is no goitrogen present. And बहुत ज़्यादा quantity में आप consume करते हो, then it becomes bad for you. So you don't consume it in that much amount of quantity. The products that we were mentioning were soya foods, cruciferous vegetables like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, mustard greens, turnips. All these are cruciferous vegetables. Fruits, vegetables like sweet potatoes, pears, nuts like peanuts and millets. They all are goitrogen containing foods. So they were being banned, but now it is suggested that you can have them in moderation. Once in a while you can have them. Thank you. I think I have covered most of the dietary tips that are required for women as well as during the disease. Any questions if you have, Mani ma'am?
Yes, Rasmi, thank you for the wonderful presentation. Very well covered. And I think like most of us, Rasmi, know that, we need to eat this. हमें ये खाना चाहिए. But it just so happens that we just don't tend to eat that. We know that we need to eat this. We know we need to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and nuts and oil seeds and all these things. But our regular diet is such that we just go for things which are not so full of things that we need to eat. So I think basic need of the basic need is to bring a change in the pattern of how we fill in our kitchens and how we bring stock in our kitchens. वहीं से हमें लगता है एक change आना चाहिए, because that is very important. Because being a food scientist, see, I am not related to how much a particular food contains what. But what I know and what I can guide is that food material that we buy, वहाँ पे एक बहुत consciousness की जरूरत है. जैसे तुमने food label की बात करी, that is my field of expertise, So we really need to understand क्या लिखा है, कितना लेना है, कैसे खाना है. हम लोग purchasing अगर correct करेंगे, if we bring correct things in our kitchen, then only we can eat right.
Absolutely correct.
Dr. Mani, sorry to interrupt in between. Can we please have the screen off, sharing screen off?
Okay, Rasmeet, if we can have the screen off so that there is a full screen view.
Yeah.
So what I was saying was that many people don't understand that when we buy suppose a packet of bhujia, right? In that packet of bhujia, there you will find this much of calorie or this much of content, whatever is content, per 100 gram or per serve size. That's very important. लोग क्या देखते हैं कि अरे इसमें इतना 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 ये है, तो ये तो काफी कम है, तो ये तो हम आराम से खा ही सकते हैं. But the the trick there is, ये सब marketing tricks होते हैं. The trick there is they don't give you the content in the packet. They give you the content in the serve size. And
Yes.
the serve size can be 1 teaspoon, the serve size can be 1 bowl. Serve size can be anything, but they don't pay attention to the serve size. So that's very, very important. आपको हमेशा ये देखना चाहिए कि वो content कितने में है. It is not in that whole packet. People think that this content is in this whole packet of bhujia or chips or whatever. But it is not so. वो उससे 10 times ज़्यादा होता है जब आप उसको convert करते हो in that packet.
And another important thing, very well said, ma'am. That is absolutely true. That is what I suggest my clients also to please, learn how to read the labels, because food labels are very important. And what the industry do is they decrease the serve size also.
Yes,
To be very
yes.
smart, in a packet of chips, if you will see, you will find that only 5 gram they have mentioned as a serve size. Although,
Yes.
people are eating just a full pack of chips as their serving portion. So we don't pay
The-
attention to that. That is absolutely covered by you. And that is a very important thing. Keep your kitchen stocked with the right kind of foods. Be close
Right
to
kind of
nature. That is the ultimate thing that you should be doing. The more processed item is, the lesser nutrition it has. So always keep in mind to buy right food products. To think that अगर आपको पता लगाना है कि ये food product highly processed है कि नहीं है, there is another technique. Check the ingredient list. When you see the
Yes.
ingredient list, if it is a lengthy ingredient
Lengthy list.
you
Yes.
can't even pronounce the names of the
Yes.
food products mentioned in it, then definitely it is a highly processed food product and you should not buy it. And
The smaller
Yeah.
the ingredient list, the lesser it is processed.
It is processed. And another key thing that I suggest my clients is to have a look at the ingredient list and just check the first three foods
ingredients.
mentioned in that, because वो
Correct.
descending order में किया जाता है food label पे. So the first 3 products are present in the maximum amount in that food product. अगर first 3 में आपको sugar या fat का कोई
Fat.
नाम दिखता है, then you should not buy that food product. That is a highly
Very
processed
true.
product.
Very
Yeah.
true, Rasmeet. Very true. This is one very important thing that you have said, and people really need to understand and be aware about this thing. One more thing that I tell people is that fortified food is such a big misnomer and a total misguiding factor, because the moment people see fortified, they think it is very nice. It is fortified, but the fact is fortification हमेशा उस चीज का होता है जिसमें से उसको actually खत्म कर दिया जाता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर फ्लावर में से या मिल्क में से अगर बॉइलिंग के बाद अगर विटामिन डी निकल गया है तो ही वो विटामिन डी फोर्टिफाइड होगा. अगर फ्लावर में से कोई चीज प्रोटीन या फाइबर निकल गया है तभी वो फाइबर या प्रोटीन फोर्टिफाइड होगा. They try to make up with the loss that has been occurred with processing. But लोग क्या सोचते, तो वो उसका ओरिजिनल अमाउंट होता है. फोर्टिफाई करना इज अ गुड थिंग कि जो लॉसेस हुए हैं उसको हम कॉम्पनसेट करें, but it is not something that people should go gaga over that it is having extra nutrient or it is having some extra kind of supplementation. It is not so. So fortified basically means it is processed, and it is processed to an extent that the original nutrient has been lost. This is one very important thing.
Well said, ma'am.
So now I think we can take up a few questions, Rasmeet. We are also running short of time. So
Yes,
there
ma'am.
are a few questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me just read out them.
Am I
Read them
visible,
out.
ma'am? Am I audible to you?
Yeah, you are audible. Your voice is cracking a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So
right
the
now?
question is that after the diet for GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, इसके लिए क्या diet हो सकती है? Seema has asked this. Seema, if you want to. Hello? Seema, can you put yourself on unmute?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So Rasmeet, can you help
Ma'am,
her out
this is
with-
beside, yes, ma'am. I would like to
Ma'am.
answer this question. Yes. This is beside the scope of the webinar that we are discussing today. It is individualized because the gastrointestinal diseases again जितने भी अभी हमने बात करी है, this all again मैम ने जैसे बोला था, इन पे एक separate webinar हो सकता है. They are all in so much detail, but we have tried to cover the major points. So this is again, it is not generalized thing. The diets are planned individually, patient specific hoti hain. We cannot generalize them that what are these things that you can do. We have to check the whole profile of the patient and consult the doctor, and then only we can plan and suggest what are the things that you can do. And this is, I think, beyond the scope of the webinar that we are covering today. Any other questions you have, ma'am?
Okay, yes, there is one more question. What to avoid in food when having type 2 diabetes? So again, they need to have a lot of fiber and things, you know. You
Yes,
can just
type 2 diabetes, again जो हमने अभी insulin resistance की बात करी थी, that has been seen with PCOD clients, PCOD patients, and with hypertension also. So type 2 diabetes, maybe definitely there are more we emphasize more on the protein content of your diet, lesser of the simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are found in, you know, sugar and refined cereals and refined grains that are again highly processed food products that we just discussed, that they are quite rich in added sugar. Juices and drinks, they all should be avoided, and some form of, you know, sugars like, you know, ice creams, chocolates, they all give you instant energy. They shoot up your blood sugar just like that, so you should avoid them. And what you should be eating is, you should be having a well-rounded balanced diet. That is the thumb rule. You should have to have the kind of diet we have discussed, a well-balanced diet. Along with it,
and
some
lot of fiber, lot of dietary
on the
fiber,
fiber.
right?
Yes, definitely dietary fiber, where you can get dietary fiber, because dietary fiber, see, it slows down the movement in your gastro GIT tract. So that way your blood sugar is not you know, rise instantly. So that is why fiber play a very important role. Now, what are the food products that you can have in your diet? Cereal grains, whole cereal grains, not the refined ones. Atta with bran, that is high in fiber. Methi dana that we suggest in diabetic patient, that plays a very, very important role, because it is a high fiber food. Along with it, it has a medicinal benefit in diabetic patients. So methi dana definitely goes into the diabetic diet. Then flax seeds that we have discussed, alsi again is high fiber food, and other you know, fruits and vegetables in the raw form, not the cooked form. So ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा salad, have to have one bowl of salad before starting your meal. So salad is a must in your diet of diabetes.
All right.
Along with it, physical activity. Diabetes physical activity के बिना control नहीं रह सकती.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very true. Thank you, Rasmi. Thank you for that. And one more question is there. What extra care should be taken when our girls enter in puberty stage? Is there any diet that you recommend?
Yes, there is diet for puberty that we have not covered. I thought adolescence के webinar में you could have covered. That is why I did not cover that topic. But yes, puberty में भी special diet we give. मीना आप जब enter करते हैं girls, then the iron requirements are more of iron rich foods like you know, meat and milk, meat and meat products. Not milk. Milk is not good in iron. Eggs are very good source of iron. Whole eggs, not the white of the egg. आजकल पता नहीं क्या जिम में एक वो चला हुआ है कि you just need to have the white of the egg. No, it's not right. You have to have the whole egg to have the appropriate nutrition, because जितनी nutrients हैं, that most of the nutrients are present in the yolk, not the white. So again, egg is a very good source of iron. So iron rich foods, then folic acid we have discussed. Dietary supplements जो folate में हमने discuss करे थे, green leafy vegetables. You can have a bowl of you know, roasted chana with you. All these things are a very good source of iron and folic acid. So that you can include soya bean, you can include high good in protein, so that you can have in your diet.
Okay, thank you, Rasmi. Thank you so much. And I think Dr. Shweta has to rush to the hospital now. She has sent a message, but before she leaves, there's a question for her also. So if you can answer that, Dr. Shweta, it is today in today's busy corporate world and stress, normally everyone is unable to focus on the, you know, health issues, and their regular inconsistencies in their dates and periods. So how can you say that periods are if they're inconsistent and they're not very regular, how much irregularity is normal, and beyond which percentage or level should you consider a doctor and see if there is something wrong?
Actually, I would suggest that you should see your overall well-being. you should go for your glucose challenge test. How much disturbed your life is with delayed periods, and your endometrial lining is not built up. So a regular ultrasound once a year to check your endometrial lining, even if the periods get late and you are not bothered by it, so it is okay. And if it comes, if the cycle is regular, then it is absolutely okay. If it comes
Like
in
5,
once
10
in
days.
2 months, once in 1.5 months, but they're coming regularly, you need to check your endometrial lining once in a while by an ultrasound, showing to your gynecologist, so that that it is not building up, it is not getting thickened. That needs to be checked. You need to follow the diet. Try to follow the diet and the exercise part, because as you put on weight, the symptoms get worsened. You will have more insulin resistance, you will have more hormonal imbalance. So your maintaining your BMR and weight is very important. And that's it. Matlab, if you're
So
comfortable
if
with
it is
you
4 or
are
5 days here
past
and
your
there, it's
reproductive age group, you are comfortable with your body, you are comfortable with your this thing, it is okay. You have to need to screen for the complication.
okay. So a few days here and there doesn't make, it's not a problem. 5 days, 6 days here and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I believe you have to rush to the hospital, Dr. Shweta.
Yeah. I
Is it
hope there's
okay?
no other question. I
No.
got a delivery call.
Yeah. I think now there is no other question. Thank you so much, Dr. Shweta. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar.
Most
Thank you.
welcome. I enjoyed the session a lot.
Thank you. Bye. So now, Rasmeet,
Yes.
So Rasmeet, there's a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
There are a lot of questions for you, Rasmeet.
Alright.
Actually, we can take up Sumita's question also. Sumita's question we said we'll take up in the end. So Sumita, if you can come and
Yeah, there was some question related
yeah.
to pregnancy, I suppose.
Pregnancy, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mani. I would again repeat my same question, though much has been answered already. It's been very informative. Thanks to Dr. Shweta and thanks to Dr. Rasmeet once again. I would repeat the question once again. As the elders say that the delivery, whether it is normal or cesarean, is a rebirth for a woman. So what should be the specific nutrition plan or diet plan for feeding mothers to recover sooner and also minimize the medicine impact for long run?
All right. May I know your good name, ma'am?
My name is Sumita Mishra.
All right, Sumita ji, first of all, I am also a mom of 2 and I have also breastfed my baby, both of my babies. I'm still doing it, one of them. So yes, breastfeeding mein nutritional requirements are more as compared to a normal adult women. And जैसा कि हमारे adults बोलते हैं कि उस time पे it is very, very important to have, those गोंद के लड्डूs, the kind of panjiri mixes and special खाना. हर region का अपना एक special food होता है that they serve to the new mothers. So those are a must to be taken in your diet. You should not think that you are cesarean, because both of my daughters are cesarean, being born through cesarean. So don't follow such fads, because बहुत सारे myths भी associated होते हैं कि lactating है तो आपको ये नहीं खाना है, that will lead to your बच्चे के मिल्क में जाएगा, उसको पेट में दर्द होगा, उसको ये होगा, उसको वो होगा. बहुत सारे myths associated होते हैं. हर सोसाइटी के अपने अपने myths हैं lactation के लिए और pregnancy के लिए. But हाँ, lactating mothers को you should have more of milk and milk products in your diet, because that will give you more protein and as well as it will add to the water content. Because अगर water content भी कम होगा तो milk production भी कम होगा. अगर milk produce कम होगा तो you definitely बच्चे को milk कम मिलेगा. बच्चे को milk का जो मतलब composition है वो नहीं change होने वाला. It is a myth कि ना अगर आप ये नहीं खाओगे तो बच्चे को दूध में ये चीज की कमी हो जाएगी. आपकी बॉडी से वो लीच आउट होगा, आपकी बॉडी सफर करेगी बट बच्चे का मिल्क सफर नहीं करेगा. तो ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग के टाइम पे it is very important to feed your baby because it is absolutely boon for you. It is the best gift you can do to your give to your child as well as for you also, because it has a lot of health benefits for mothers as well as child. And coming to the diet, again, milk and milk products is must to add. Milk and milk products have more of water, have more of those gonke laddus and all the laddus that your elders suggest. And don't think that cesarean section है तो हम ये नहीं खा सकते, घी नहीं खा सकते, चीनी नहीं खा सकते, nuts नहीं खा सकते, गैस हो जाएगी, ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा. Have handful, more than handful, a bowl of nuts every day in your life. एवरी डे, क्योंकि उसमें से भी बहुत सारे ओमेगा 3 फैट्स एंड बहुत सारे ऐसे फैक्टर्स होते हैं जो मिल्क के प्रोडक्शन में हेल्प करते हैं. हैव योर जीरा वाटर एंड ऑल दी वाटर दैट योर मदर सजेस्ट टू हैव फॉर द एक्सेस ऑफ मिल्क प्रोडक्शन. देन यू कैन हैव दलियाज इन योर डाइट. हैव हाई फाइबर डाइट. कॉन्स्टिपेशन नहीं होना चाहिए सिजेरियन सेक्शन में. तो शुरू के 7-8 दिन यू हैव टू लिमिट सम फूड्स कि ये चीजें गैस करेंगी तो स्टिचेस में दर्द होगा. There is a restriction for 7 to 10 days, but after 7 to 10 days you have to have a good amount of your diet irrespective of the mode of delivery you have faced. And please consult your doctor also, because individually sometimes some foods are irritant to those, so consult your doctor as well as dietitian before consuming them. But in general you can have your salads, fruits, milk, vegetables and cereals like dalia, khichdi, roti, chana, dal. जो मर्जी खाना है खाइए, कोई restriction नहीं है. All these food products will give you benefit only. So there are a lot of myths associated with it. I think I have answered your question. Anything else you would like to ask?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
All right, so I think that we come to an end of this session with this. I think, Rasmeet, most of the queries have been answered by you and Dr. Shweta. And one question again, there is that is from Riva Goyal, is that should you consume the foods with expiry date? No, I think even I can answer that question if you want. Yes, we should never consume foods with expiry date. Actually, most of the foods don't have expiry dates. Most of the foods have a date best before use. So best before is like you can use best. The food would be in best of its quality before that date. After that date, it might not be hazardous to health, but it might not have that kind of quality that you want. So that is one thing. And if the packet says expiry date, then you really cannot use that food after that, because after that, if you have got some kind of ailment or some kind of problem with your health, then you can't claim. So why should you get into that trouble of eating something that is not safe? Because they have given the expiry date because of some reason. So
well answered.
You should always appreciate that.
Yes.
You want to add something to it?
No, I think you have covered it. I'm a little in a rush. I think any other questions, if you have, we can just answer it quickly, because I'm in a little rush. Anything else?
No, I don't think there's any more question, but I would also like to compliment all. I could see there are 3 or 4 gents in this session.
Yeah,
so that is something. Yeah, so that is something very commendable, and we should thank those gents to be a part of Women Health Issue, because very few gents are concerned about this thing. And if they have taken the interest, it is something that really needs a praise. So we should praise them for being there.
Yeah, that means it is a big applause for them, because the society trends are changing. They are supporting their daughters, mothers, wives. And I definitely give them a big round of applause for attending it, to be careful and caring for their partners or mothers or daughters. So it is very important to have that kind of insight. And, that is being, I think they are good citizens of India.
Yes, they are good family persons as well. So, yes, so we are lucky to have this change in our society. And thank you everyone for being a part of this session. And I think this session must have benefited all of you to quite an extent, or to some extent. Thank you once again. And with this, I would like to take a leave from everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rasmeet. Thank you very much for being a part. It was a pleasure having you, Rasmeet. It was a pleasure having you.
Same here, ma'am. Thank you so much. And thank you once again for inviting me. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.